Welcome to the bold analysis today, the 5th day of February 2025. After the attending Charles burial in the lakeside of the weekend, I am back in the city and I thank God for safe journey masses. United States of America has informed United Nations that it is freezing 1.7 billion funding for 3 months that was going towards peacekeeping mission in Haiti. This is a mission that is going to affect Kenya directly. The UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric revealed that Trump administration announced that move for 3 months pending further probing on whether it aligns with the US foreign policy. Remember, this is part of the executive orders that Trump signed on the day he was inaugurated in office. The move to stop funding for the peacekeeping mission is part of the sweeping orders that he did. Now, the Trump made this announcement at the time 70 peacekeepers from El Salvador arrived in Haiti to join more than 600 Kenyan peacekeepers who are already in the Caribbean nation. Of course, during the Biden administration, the Nairobi team had taken lead and Kenya was picked to lead that mission in Haiti. And just 2 months ago, last month in January, there is another delegation of police that were also dispatched to Haiti from Nairobi. A low-key event that was just overseen by the Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen from the country. Now, this move is attracting attention across the country, and even our sisters and brothers that are in Haiti are now saying the mission is in limbo. Trump also withdrew the US from all other UN-backed humanitarian projects in the across the country, across the world, setting a broader review of America's funding for multilateral groups. United States had stepped up its effort to transform the Kenyan-led Haiti mission to a UN-backed mission. I think Biden had foreseen the uncertainties that would affect this mission. However, it is still unclear the impacts of Trump's orders. The US was the biggest contributor in this mission, and the former American President Joe Biden committed himself for this mission in 2023. That will then even culminate on giving President Ruto a state visit in the White House. However, since its launch, this mission had been marred by several challenges, including insufficient funding. It ended last year in October, but of course the team reviewed, according to their review, there was a need to extend it for 12 months ahead. So it is supposed to end October 2025. However, all that now is in limbo because Trump is saying he is not going to support it for the next 3 months. Now, after those 3 months, Kenya might be in a situation of wait and see that after those 3 months, he would decide to give back a portion of the funding or rather downscale the funding or even withdraw the funding. Now, that will put that mission in a very critical situation. And I think it is not right to wait and see. In Nairobi, a crisis is already looming at the Ministry of Health because USAID attached staff were sent on an indefinite leave after Trump administration withdrew funding that were affecting several health projects in the country. But again, the African population feels that Trump order is a blessing in disguise. It is a moment of awakening for the continent.
We have depended on US aid for over 60 years, and the moment the owners of the money say, let's take a 90-day pause that I audit where my money is going, suddenly the whole country goes into a frenzy. And this should be a moment of reflection for Uganda and the African continent in general. We have been asking for a very long time to be liberated from colonialism, neo-colonialism, and now that the opportunity presents itself, for some reason, we are complaining. Because let's get something straight. Often the money given to us in foreign aid is lost to corruption, misuse, depleted and overrated salaries to particular individuals, or sometimes we lose billions of money that are unaccounted for. So it only makes sense that the donor is asking for an edit, and if that means pausing the amount of money coming in, they should. And I do understand the implications of this pause because so many heavily funded healthcare projects run on US aid, but that should be a moment of reflection. This is just a 90-day pause. What would happen if the United States just said, we're not giving you money anymore? And within their rights, they can't do that because it is their money. It's high time Uganda and the African continent got themselves together and actually started looking for systems that are sustainable and not always depend on foreign aid, because we are struggling with debt. On top of that, we have constant aid, which doesn't necessarily help us to have a more independent system. Instead of writing paragraphs of why this is a bad move, we should essentially realize that, oh, we are actually in a bad situation and we cannot always depend on aid because it can go any day. African nations should wake up. Uganda should wake up, because this is not even funny.
Now, back to Haiti mission. Of course, that lady is talking about things that the leaders will not want to hear, that despite of the fact that they get this funding and they get this aid, it is not really working. On Kenya, Haiti mission, the country argued extensively. What was the rationale of sending our brothers and sisters to Haiti for a peacekeeping mission, while in the country we all still have teething insecurity issues? And many felt this was ill-advised. Remember, the Haiti mission was also litigated in the Kenyan courts, and it dragged in court for some time until the courts gave it green light. But now, our worry, of course, after the bid into Trump transition, the country and analysts argued that Kenya needed to tread very careful and look into Haiti, whether it was right to continue being part of that mission, because Trump had adopted the policy of American policy first. The mission is now in limbo. Nairobi officials are still tight-lipped on the fate of the said mission. President Ruto could face more of these troubles. And of course, I want us to think why even our foreign mission, our foreign policy needs to be retweaked. It needs to be flexible to respond to these dynamics. Donald Trump is on a mission, and his mission is America first. And after stopping, by the time he's stopping this, you need to remember something is also happening in South Africa. Very interesting. And I want us to listen to get what's happening in South Africa, so that we draw the parallels and indeed understand that it is time for the African continent to retweak and rethink its foreign policy.
And we've been saying, for this issue of the land, this issue that Donald Trump fears so much, we offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land, because he's never been here. And he must keep his America, we will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump. He can keep his America. And is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I will say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse, because your forebears came to America. They found the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rine, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Maori. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problems. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America. You have your own problems. Leave us alone. We are sitting now around the table.
Dependence on foreign aid is something of the past. In South Africa, Ramaphosa entered into some joint government, or rather some handshake with the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance is predominantly the whites. So, but then during Trump administration, they passed a law, not Trump, Ramaphosa passed a law that is allowing the government to seize land, unused land from the public without compensation. 70% of the South African land is held by minority whites. Whites minority years after the end of apartheid regime. Now, this Democratic Alliance, now their outcry, they opposed Ramaphosa's move. And now I think this is what raised to Donald Trump through the Elon Musk, who is believed to be originally from South Africa. And Donald Trump now has issued a statement and said he is withdrawing the support foreign aid to South Africa because of the land confiscation. That issue has raised a diplomatic war between Ramaphosa and Donald Trump. And I think in the continent, the only president that have stood firm to respond to Donald Trump is Ramaphosa. So this tells you, and of course they're taking, the one positive from that story is talking about violation of human rights. Now, even in this country, we have blatant violation of human rights as the issues of abductions and killings continue, of course, shrinking the democratic space. I also feel that Donald Trump should take the same sword and bring it here, that we stop foreign aid if you continue doing this and that. Now, in Africa, South Africa is one of the countries that is a country that is the greatest beneficiary of AGOA. AGOA is this treaty that allows African countries to export their goods to America duty-free. He might not review AGOA in 2025. So there's so many other things coming. It is not just not supporting. Within 3 months, no one knows what will happen. Donald Trump, remember, as President Uhuru said, that is his money. He's not under obligation to give it to anyone. The continent cannot ask him that you must give us the money. Now, Donald Trump has stopped the 1.7 billion to Haiti mission. Our soldiers there are there in their numbers. The big question is, what is the fate of that mission? What exactly is going to happen moving forward? It's a very critical question, and the Nairobi team are not responding. I've been checking the Twitter for Musalia Mudavadi, the Foreign Affairs CS, and even the PS, Koreru Sinye, and even the president himself. But then the question that many will then want to ask is, how is it that Kenya did not read the signs? How is it that we trusted this, that we never read the signs that Donald Trump could actually, when he was talking about America First, from that point, with that transition, we ought just to stop sending our soldiers there. So something is very critical, and the country just needs to hear. Now, Kenya must now review their participation in Haiti mission and not wait for the lapse of 3 months. If there is an exit clause, if there is an exit strategy, that is what the country, the Nairobi team, should be talking about. Remember, it is not our birthright to fight for Haiti, to bring peace in Haiti. If anything, Haiti does not border Kenya. We have little business or trade ties with Haiti. Stabilization of Haiti was in the interest of the United States of America under Biden administration. Now, if the Trump administration is making U-turn and they're saying they're not supporting it, of course for their own reasons, then it means that even what Biden said, that it was in the interest of America for Haiti to be stabilized, then that is not it. That mission makes no value to Kenya compared to the US. So if Biden is feeling like it's not a priority to America, then why should Kenya prioritize it? The President, William Ruto, must make brave decision and recall our soldiers back in the country. I don't think it is advisable to wait for the 3 months to lapse. Then after 3 months, you start thinking of how you can return the soldiers. The return is the best option as we speak, because even the soldiers, even the gangs, our soldiers in Haiti are demotivated. Because of the, remember, one of the motivation of the soldiers is the fortunes that come with it, the allowances, the salaries, the heavy salaries that come with it. So if the soldiers are there and they realize that probably the money is not there, vis-a-vis criminal gangs understanding that the US is not backing that mission, they will be more emboldened. And in fact, we risk the lives of our soldiers in Haiti. Trump laid a red carpet for Israel PM Netanyahu yesterday. Netanyahu is believed to be supporting Rwanda-backed M23 rebels who are invading Congo. So what Trump is up to, no one knows. I think Nairobi team needs to work very fast to ensure that our soldiers are back in the country. Thank you.